Fast break action. It's Matty and Patty, coast to coast from Brooklyn. This is Pat McMenamin. To San Francisco, it's Matt Younger. Say hello, yeah, Matty.
This is so exciting, isn't it?
It's so nice to have something positive and happy to talk about. Cavs season is here, Matty. It's here.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, Pat.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's Christmas. Come early in October.
It's amazing.
Cavs season starts Tuesday night against the eminently hateable Chicago Bulls, and all is right with the world, Matty. Come on, Cavs.
You got to make it happen, buddy.
Got to make it happen. Welcome to the Cleveland Sports Hour with Matty and Patty, two self-aware but unapologetic homers who spend far too much time watching, reading, thinking about the Cavs, mostly the Cavs, and the Browns if we have to, and the Tribe, we'll get to them eventually after more time goes by. So if you like the informed, intelligent Cleveland fans' perspective, you've come to the right place. Matty, it's the best part is we don't even have this thing hanging over the season. As we thought we were, this whole off season we've been talking about it. You'll get to some stuff, but the biggest one, TT's back. We got TT. We don't have to worry about this. Tristan Thompson, he signed. Matty, how do you feel? I mean, first of all, before we get to anything else in the outline of what we're going to be talking about tonight, let's just get into it with Tristan Thompson and the signing. Number one, David Griffin has balls of steel, right? Yeah. Holy shit!
Is there a chance that he caved too early and he could have just kept pushing him a little and had him come in under?
Yeah, but then it would have been a negative at that point. Any deal that we got that was good or bad, once season starts, is a minus. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Cavs had Justin Rowan from Fear the Sword, one of my favorite guys to follow on Twitter, Cavs Twitter, and a huge Tristan Thompson fan. Actually gave us a B plus or a B minus if he was grading the deal, and I know he was thrilled with the deal. Obviously, he docked it because of the holdout.
Because it took so long.
Yeah, but I'm like, but what's really the only minus here is that he missed some of training camp. That's it.
And I don't think that was in our control either. I think that was Thompson's side that would not have settled for 5 minutes too. They were playing that game and it didn't.
Right, and
Justin talked about this. This is the outcome that made the most sense the whole time. Everybody saves some face, gets what they want. It's too bad that it didn't happen earlier, but I understand why Thompson's side would push it and try to get more, and it just didn't work.
Well, Justin has the POV. I don't want to speak for him, but he's reflective of a sentiment that I find within Cavs Twitter, which was kind of galvanizing around, let's hope we can get him for this. Honestly, pay him the max if you have to. Just pay him like he's worth it. Just do it.
Oh, yeah.
And so they were starting to get to the point of that there was a big negative here. Why aren't they just ponying up? I just think this gives us a lot of flexibility going forward, getting 82 as opposed to 94 or 95.
It's a much more appropriate deal.
It's much more flexible.
Outrageous.
Yes, but as Justin pointed out, if you put the percentage of the cap that this deal is at and apply it to this past year's cap, it's actually around $10 million a year in terms of the actual average numbers, something like that. And it'll be even smaller compared to next year's cap. So it's actually going to, I think this is going to be a bargain down the road.
I agree. Part of this is me still price adjusting to think.
Yeah,
we talked about that earlier in free agency, but I still don't I'm not calibrated yet for it.
Yeah, no, and I think that was what the holdup was mostly about. Was TT was asking for the max because that was what his value was going to be calibrated in 2 years, basically. Right. And I think that's what they were smartly kind of going for. They had a point there, but Cavs, of course, had a point, too, of saying, hey, we want to pay you what you're worth and still have the flexibility to be able to keep the team together next year because coming up we have Mozgov in the offseason next year to deal with, and he's probably going to go for more than Tristan. Not because he's worth more.
He's going to get a max offer from somebody, I would think.
You think he's going to get a max? I don't know if he's going to get a max, but he's going to get close to it. He's going to get much more. per year.
He's going to get a max. I mean, and the difference between him and TT there is just that he's so much bigger, and that's a big deal.
Oh,
so
I
7-footers that seem like they can do anything. I mean, there's a long history of those guys getting overpaid. There's going to be so much money floating around, so many teams with it.
Well, to me, the bigger deal is not so much his actual value and skill as a basketball player, but the fact that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent.
And we don't have any. Certainly, that's
we've lost all the leverage.
That's fair too.
Mm-hmm. Is it possible to be critical of the Tristan Thompson deal? Because people are. DeMarcus Cousins threw some shade.
Yeah,
on Twitter. I don't know if you saw that.
That wasn't so cool, huh?
No, I mean, that's kind of against the brotherhood here. I thought that
McMenamin said that in his article about it quite clearly. He was like, this was not a smart thing for him to do.
Violating an unspoken code, and also the players are about to go into a negotiating period, right? For the bargaining agreement. This is exactly. Yeah, I mean, they got the deal to come up with, right?
Yeah,
that's not a smart play for DeMarcus Cousins. Anyway, the bottom line is Tristan Thompson's here to stay. Mozgov may not be next year, depending on how crazy teams get with throwing money at them. Jacob, what's his name, Matty, WFNY. He's my resident Cavs cap expert. Yeah, Jacob Rosen from WFNY. He pegged our available cap space after paying LeBron next year for Mozgov, I think around 19.5. So that might be enough to get it done on an annual basis, unless, somebody gives him a max, in which case you won't be able to pay him. I mean, we could pay him, but then it's going to be massive tax penalties. So
let's cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. And as somebody pointed out, actually, I forgot about this. I kept saying my big fear was about the triple repeater tax, right? Or the triple tax. It's possible that's going to go away.
That's true. That could get negotiated out.
That could get negotiated out. Like I don't know how likely that is, but it's certainly something that's on the table and not something that we should count on being there.
Yeah. And most of all, Gilbert has not shown any remorse about spending.
No.
In fact, he's already going to the joke he made.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it was. I gave David Griffin. What was it? Utah. I'm going to blow it. Go ahead.
Gave him an unlimited budget, and he exceeded it.
Yes, perfect.
Which is a joke I don't know if that's the government joke or something, but
Matty,
it shows he's not batting an eyelash at this, which is
absolutely. Great. Absolutely. And Matty, best decision I made all podcast was just now when I decided to just give up that layup and let you handle that.
Yes. That was a wise move.
Wise move, general.
Pat, one more thing on TT. I think the funniest angle, and I can't remember who wrote about this, but I think was dead serious, was like, you mentioned this in the last one about his consecutive games played streak that he wouldn't want to break.
Yeah.
And somebody, you might remember who it was like, yeah, seriously, his mom would have had his ass if he had let that consecutive game streak go by. There was no way she was letting that go. So, no, I'm not surprised he signed before the season.
Yeah, that's fantastic. All right, so let's get to the rest of the podcast here. Tonight, we're going to give you a forward-looking preview. Not just a recap of where things are now, who made the roster, predictions for the year, etc. But we're going to specifically kind of look forward to what to keep an eye on as you watch the games early in the season or watch the box scores and read the game recaps. What are the new X and O sets to be looking for? And what it means when you see it. What are the matchups to look forward to? And of course, who to hate once the games begin. And we'll probably have something to say at the very end about the sloppy, drunk performance of the Cleveland Browns in St. Louis today. But let's not dwell on that.
No, let's start with fun, Pat. We can.
Let's start with fun, Matty. Let's revive our fan favorite. Last year, right, we started with the kill list, which was if I could paraphrase you, there's a certain point when, in the playoffs in particular, right, you're seeing one guy, you're seeing him every single game, and they kind of get under your skin. And they're good enough to upset you and dash your hopes that you get to the point where you think to yourself in a consequence-free environment, I might actually kill this person if I have the chance.
Yeah. Right.
So, regular season is a little different animal. It's the course of a season, and you run into these people in the middle of the regular season schedule, and something happens, and you just think to yourself, I forgot how much I fucking hate this guy. And yes, again, consequence free environment might kill them. I think, Matty, we should have a running theme this season everyone has their power rankings, right? We should have our power kill list.
Yes.
So
I'm in on this, Pat.
Right. We only have so much time. We know I'm going to fill as much of it as possible with blather. So let's make a power 5, okay? Yes. So let's do a countdown from 5 to 1. Going into the regular season, Matty, who is your who's ranking number 5 on your power kill list?
This is who I would want to kill right now. So this is not my prediction. Right who I think I'm going to want to kill.
Good question. It's a good point. Yeah, I think right now. Good point.
This is
I may have
that's what I did. Good.
Go ahead.
This is who I want. So it's you'll see it's going to be heavily tinged by the taste in my mouth at the end of the season. But number 5,
of course.
I'm going off court a little bit, I guess, but I think this is within the spirit of what we've done here. Pat Riley.
Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Nice.
I don't like the Heat lurking as a team that scares me a little bit. They've got some pieces there that worry me a little, Patty. I think we'll ultimately be okay.
I'm with you. What did Pat Riley do or say in the offseason to draw your eye? Anything?
He didn't just let that team die, which is sort of what I was hoping for, to take it easy on us. He rebuilt it, and I already have enough animus built up against him for all the tampering he did to get LeBron down there, which we're just being a blind eye to.
Still his prime years.
And how he runs his mouth. And I don't like the guy to begin with. I don't like his haircut. I don't like his face.
I don't like his face.
He's number 5 for me right now.
Matty, this is I mean, a wonderful coincidence. I didn't have Pat Riley. I had Dwayne Wade as a stand-in, I guess, for Pat Riley.
Yeah.
For exact same reasons of they're kind of better than I'd like them to be.
Yep.
And there's a lot of still anger and hurt at the 4 years of LeBron's prime they stole. And absolutely. Dwayne Wade, my stand-in mostly because, as you said, I don't like his face. He looks like
Sylvester Stallone.
He's a Black Sylvester Stallone. That was my early call. Black Sylvester Stallone.
Sleepy eyelids on both of them.
The sleepy eyelids. I mean, Hassan Whiteside. I might probably, if we're going to do future power rankings, I'm probably going to go to hate him. Forward thinking, he's number 1, way up there. He was an asshole last year.
He is a hot man. He's guaranteed to do something crazy and stupid. And if it's against your team, you're going to hate him.
Yep. All right, moving on to number 4. I'll take this one. We can alternate.
Oh. Okay.
I put James Harden at number 4.
Ooh.
I fucking hate that dude. He's a great player, but he is like Matt. What do I hate more than anything in any athletic event? What drives me? What is guaranteed to piss me off in a game?
I'm pretty sure it's flopping, Pat.
Yeah, well, just refs. Any game, any sport, I get about refs. Generally speaking. And what makes me more angry than anything is a guy who's like a good significant portion of his game and his value is derived from flopping. I don't mean flopping like taking a charge. I mean trying to get a call, faking content, faking shit to get a call, which I find to be a pussy fucking move. Exaggerating contact, being in the right spot to putting yourself in the right spot to get a call. That's different. That's totally different than nothing's happening. You're just wanting them to blow a whistle and bail you out. It's a pussy move. And James Harden's the king of it with his head flop. He does this head jerk and gets the call every time. It drives me fucking crazy. He's good enough that it's like hard enough to play to defend a guy like that. When he fucking pulls that shit, I just want to fucking murder him.
I agree. I think there are some people that sort of admire that part of his game.
I fucking hate those people. I hate those people, and I want to punch them in the face.
Pat, does it make you have any sympathy and drop him on the list that he was, it appears, dumped by Khloe Kardashian for the near lifeless poor body of Lamar Odom?
Oh, no, that just makes me schadenfreude. That makes me very happy. Makes me very, very happy. Good
bad
for
look.
him. Maybe he shouldn't flop so much and stop. A big question. Do you think he could use the his signature move from Lil B, the Bay's God? He got cursed last year.
Oh yeah, he did get recursed, didn't he?
Yeah. So is he gonna keep doing it?
I don't know.
I wouldn't
fucking do it
if I was him.
for the season.
I mean, the Cavs were smart. When they got called out by the base god and were threatened with a curse, they immediately tweeted back, no, we love you. We were clearly doing you. Yep. We were clearly doing your dance because we love it and we love you. All love. And so he took the curse off. We still lost, but whatever. It was still a good series. Matty, who's your number 4?
Number 4 for me, I surprised that this made me so angry as I thought about it. Kelly Olynyk.
Oh, no, yes, Kelly Olynyk. How could he's not in my 5. I have to adjust my 5. I was going through this going, I knew I'm forgetting someone. Kelly Olynyk for sure. That's a great call.
I'm mad. And I got myself re-mad thinking about how if he hadn't done what he'd done, and I debated putting in various elements of their coach, the Celtics as an organization, Danny Ainge, Bill Simmons, just because of how their strategy as a team that was going to get run off the court was to get real physical. The refs let that go. Game 3, we said the refs got to get this under control or something bad's going to happen. Sure enough, something bad happens. It's our guy and does what it does in a year in which we very well could have won. And if we don't win, I think that's my Cleveland concern, Pat, is that we're going to look back on that and be like, that
was our best chance.
Really sunk us. And that got me real mad. And he's right back in. And I want to bring up what I said, the question I asked you over the summer, Pat, which is the first time they play, Kevin Love just grabs his arm and pulls it out of the socket. Are you mad at him or happy? And I think we both said very happy.
I'm very happy. I want to give him a hug, a high five. I'd be so happy for that.
And I want to do that and have all the Cavs answers just be deadpan, looking dead into the camera and saying, "Yeah, Kevin's really uncoordinated." And so
yes,
He didn't mean it.
He didn't mean it.
And then we'll take our 1-game suspension and move on.
Yeah, 1 game.
Some bitterness.
Kelly Olynyk
had for my number 4.
That's some excellent bitterness. By the way, Matty, my biggest concern now actually is that I'm going to be disappointed in Kevin Love's coolness about this. I think I'm going to be really annoyed.
That is what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to be and that's going to annoy the shit out of me. Yeah. And I'm stealing myself from not hating Kevin Love. Not hating Kevin, for not thinking less of Kevin Love for doing that.
No, it's the right thing to do probably, but part of me wants it not to be.
But Matty, why are you upset? He's going to he's going to be suspended for game 1 of the season.
That's true. That did make a big difference.
Time served, Matty. You know what? And now that I just think about it, and I haven't forgotten Kelly Olynyk, I still have him outside my 5 only because he's so bad and not actually important. And I kind of balanced that in there a little bit.
Somebody was talking about how their best big man rotation is going to be him and Amir Johnson. It might have been Zach Lowe.
Oh, really, Zach? Come on.
So,
I mean. Come on. All right. I can't take this seriously. Matty, move on to number 3. Who's your number 3?
My number 3, I got to imagine, is going to be on your list. MDJ, Mike Dunleavy Jr. Yes. He's on my list. You want to save it for when we come back to you and we'll really get
let's save it. Let's save it. He's not number 3. He's not number 3 for me. So Number 3 for me is I couldn't decide who between the two. At first I wrote down Chris Paul. Because Chris Paul, he's an asshole. He's a real dick.
Oh yeah,
he's one of the most unbelievable assholes I've ever seen.
How about how much all the rest of the league hates the Clippers generally, and he's a big part of that.
I'm trying to, who's the stand-in for the Clippers? Hate, right? I can't. It's not really going to be what's his name?
Blake Griffin.
Who's do this? Griffin. Yeah, I was like, it's Griffin. Yes, Griffin.
The players hate Griffin. Fans don't hate Griffin though. Other players hate Griffin. Like him intensely.
Interesting.
I'm not 100% sure of, but they really don't.
I think because he's one of those two Clipper school douchebags. But that's also why.
Okay, I think that's very possible.
That's probably it. I mean, the shit he did in the offseason with the Andre Jordan thing, tweeting pictures of the chair in front of the door.
Oh my! I mean, that was next
level.
Just
unbelievable. Next level trolling. And like, part of me has to be like, I mean, I can't hate him too much because that's so entertaining. It's like Matt. The other guy who's been the Clippers, crazy.
Matt Barnes.
Matt Barnes driving Temecula to beat the shit out of Fisher. Yeah, which he didn't beat the shit out of him because apparently there was no mark left on his face, but whatever. So Chris Paul, but of course, who's the newest guy on the Clippers this offseason?
Lance?
No, Paul Pierce.
Oh, PP, you're thinking of. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Paul Pierce. So I don't know who to choose between those two, but I'm gonna. They're tied for third, so to speak. Paul Pierce, Chris Paul. We'll see once we play them in the regular season who takes the mantle for the Clippers.
Fair enough. Chris Paul's reasonable.
But Chris Paul's just. I mean, it seems like he's an asshole as a human being. Like, a misogynist with the female referee. Just not a good friend in terms of DeAndre Jordan. Just kind of one of those people that you just want to not be around in life.
He's the president of the union.
I mean, if you hold on, you want that guy to be head of your union.
I guess that's true.
You know what I mean? You want that guy. You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall, kind of guy.
I guess that's true, and he also has LeBron as his vice president to just smooth things out with people.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The nice guy. You gotta have the good cop, bad cop thing. Yeah. He's the bad cop. All right, so that's
enormous dick on
that's
the
my three
too. Okay,
absolutely. So Matty, I'm gonna you do your number two, so I can you go to number two first, so I don't ruin any kind of surprise here. So what's your number two?
My number two is Mr. Joakim Noah.
Two bulls in your okay. Go ahead. Tell me why.
Maybe three.
Ooh, I like this. Go ahead.
For why Joakim? I don't know that. I think the evidence is plain.
But he's even though he's benched, he's not even starting.
Yeah, I know that's weird. I'm not sure that'll last. I don't know how I feel about that. Starting Gasol and Mirotic. You're going to bring the Mirotic?
Mirotic. I'm always calling Mirotic. Never
I don't. Mirotic annoys me, but he does not scare me. So we'll see how long that lasts. I get that they wanted to split up Gasol and Noah, and Noah will do whatever. But mostly whatever means is drive me insane with his googly-eyed monster visage running up and down the court like an animal.
You don't think we exposed the Bulls as Bulls? We exposed Noah as don't guard him?
I think he really wasn't right in that series physically.
We'll see.
And then supposedly he's in great shape, did really well over the side. So we'll see. I mean, if he's playing better, it's only going to make me angrier. So he's safe there at number two for me.
All right. Number two for me is Draymond Green.
Oh, Patty.
Big time. Which, yes, tells you who my number one is.
Well, Draymond Green is my number one, so let's get into him now. That's fine.
Let's get into him right now. So Draymond, perfectly fine, number one. But I'll give you my you'll give me your reasons for number one in a minute. Obviously, my number one then is Mike Dunleavy. So let's have our debate between Dunleavy and Draymond Green.
Good. Perfect way to do it.
So Draymond Green, look, still really funny. The same reason why Blake Griffin, for me, gets a little bit of a pass, right? Because he's entertaining. He's good for the league. The same reason why he wasn't high on my kill list when we went to the finals, right? Obviously, he shot way up with his bullshitness during the finals. He was a terrible fucking – he was a fucking liability to that team in the finals.
Oh, yeah. That gets glossed over a little bit.
Yet carries himself like big fucking shit when he fucking shat the goddamn bed in the finals. So that skyrockets him up the list.
Did you hear his trash talk back to Kyrie Irving?
Yeah. I remember. First of all, I remember his parade stuff. The nope, all that drunken dumbassery. Yeah, exactly. The Kyrie shit. I forget exactly what he said, but
Kyrie was on Shaq's podcast, which is an amazing sentence to utter, and said something like, "Yeah, I think if we had been healthy, we would have won."
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that he said it like that, but that was the gist. And I think Draymond Green said, "If I was 6'10", I'd be Anthony Davis," which
logically
sort of a weird thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of a nonsensical thing to say. I mean, even logically speaking, Kyrie Irving being healthy and the team being healthy is something that's possible, that could actually happen at some point, and was possible at the time. It didn't happen. I don't know that Draymond Green can ever be 6'10". If he was 6'10", I think he'd be just a 6'10" Draymond Green.
No, I agree. There is a logical fallacy in his comparison.
Yes.
Sure.
So to begin with, but
also a little weird to do that with Anthony Davis, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like saying, only difference between Draymond Green and Anthony Davis is 4 inches of height?
An impossible gulf, an unimaginable gulf. I don't know what he's saying. It's weird to talk about another player that is, it's a serious rival for them in some ways, depending on how you think the Pelicans are going to be this year. But for the future, and to be like, I don't know, just give him that much credit feels a little weird to me.
Feels weird to me too. But yeah, so he's high up there, number 2 for me. But what saves him is the fact that I think he's going to be kind of weak this year. I think he surprised a lot of people.
Mouth. What do you mean by weak? He's not going to play well?
Yeah, not nearly as well. I think he had a huge year last year. I think he's going to have a down year. I think he's going to be a little exposed. He's still going to have like his moments, but I think we'll realize you're going to live with him hitting threes sometimes, and you're going to lose some games because of it. But you're better off just letting him jack up bad 3-pointers. I mean, 33% is not a great 3-point.
Do you think he's going to lapse defensively? That's where so much of his value was.
I feel like he was potentially overrated defensively. He has good matchups against a lot of teams, but like he was never really a terror to us in the finals defensively. He had some good moments, but
he was pretty good defensively.
Solid. He wasn't terrible, but you know what I mean.
Right.
I was never like terrified or frustrated. We got ours on him. We kind of embarrassed him a lot. Like I said, I'm not afraid of Draymond Green. I think he's okay. I don't say he's overrated. He's overrated right now, I think, because of the year he had. He's a very good player, very versatile.
No, I know,
like that, in the way that Tristan is. Speaking of which, by the way, Tristan, I think we said this at the beginning of the year, back when the 5 years, $80 million deal didn't happen at first.
Yeah.
But the suspicion that he was balking at not being paid Draymond Green money. He's now being paid exactly what Draymond Green's being paid.
Yeah, that's funny that they ended up there.
I think there may have been something to that. Yeah. So here's why Dunleavy is number 1 for me, though. The same reason he was number 1 on my list in the Bulls series is because he's white. He's the dirtiest fucking player out there who tries to hurt and maim people's careers and doesn't have the reputation because he's a white guy with an NBA coach dad and the clean-cut haircut.
Yep.
That's why. And that motherfucker, I fucking hate him. God, the national nightmare averted when we did not sign him with those rumors. But he's starting out on my number 1. He will probably fall, but right now I'm still livid about the playoffs and how he just basically
depends how many Bulls games you watch this year, Pat, to see him do dirty stuff.
That's probably true.
Because I feel like if they were playing the Jazz and he did something dirty, it would piss you off.
Yep, 100%, definitely. All right, so we should move on. We spent our first 20 minutes to kill this.
Wait, I want to say one more thing about this, which is
no. That's what I'm saying. I want you to cement your Draymond Green as number 1 over Dunleavy and Noah.
Okay, well, first I'm going to say something that's going to make you hate Dunleavy more.
I think. No, not possible. Not possible.
I was listening to a podcast with Shane Batty, and I can't remember. This was during the playoffs or just after the playoffs. And I think it was Zach Lowe was asking him about Dunleavy because Zach Lowe is one of the people that acknowledges that Dunleavy's super dirty.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked him about that because they're former Duke teammates. And Shane Batty was like, no. He just plays hard out there. Guys get a reputation, but it's not. He plays hard. He puts his body in the right spot. It's a physical game. Did all the cliche lines you can say.
Right.
This is coming after. I can't remember if it was in the same podcast or an earlier one where Shane Battier said that Matthew Dellavedova was dirty on the play where I think his whole body of work. We could name all the plays, but this was after the Kyle Korver injury. And those two things in juxtaposition, Pat, infuriated me, and I would imagine would infuriate you too.
So is it too late to put Shane Batty on the list, even though he's not playing anymore? He's retired.
I thought about having him on for just that reason.
Put Shane Batty on the list.
That would be too much.
All right, quickly, because I've sucked up most of the action here so far. But what's your case for Draymond Green at the top of your list over Dunleavy in his ilk?
I hate the Warriors more than I hate the Bulls right now.
Yeah, Yeah, that's fair too.
I'm angrier. It's a more open wound. I live out here, so I have to hear a lot about them. It's a little more in my face. I deal with Warriors fans on a very regular basis. I think all those factors combined to make him number one on my list. And he's run his mouth all preseason as you'd expect him to. So it's too raw for me still, Pat. That's why he's there.
Yeah. I buy that. I almost put Steph Curry on my top 5.
Yeah, I thought about him too.
Yeah, he's just so fucking good. The thing that pisses me off the most, the thing that makes me hate him the most is how good he is. And that's not a good reason.
It just goes into that terrifying mode where you're like, he's going to hit.
Oh God, just anything.
Oh yeah,
exactly. Fucking hate them. All right, Matty, let's walk through the roster. The roster's set. Cunningham got the last spot over Quinn, so we know our roster now. Cook, I'm sorry, Quinn Cook. I said Quinn. Sorry, Quinn Cook. Excuse me.
Not like or one of the other weaker Quinns that has ever appeared in the league.
Yes, exactly. Brady. Different league, different sport. So we know our roster. We know that we're missing Iman Shumpert. I did it again. Iman Shumpert.
There you go, buddy. You'll get it right
there
someday.
You go. Hey. It's calf season. It's time to
start mispronouncing.
Time to mangle all of the calf names. Exactly. Mispronunciating, all that stuff. Iman Shumpert out for at least a month.
Oh, no, I think he's out until January at least, Patty.
I heard a month is possible. His cast is already off, so I think we might see him sometime in December. We'll see. At the very least, January. Kyrie might be out till January, probably going back sometime in December. Probably Kyrie first, then Iman.
That's what I think.
But now that we have TT back, great. We have everyone who's healthy. Verajao is coming back from Achilles. Mozgov has got a sore knee from his surgery.
Yeah,
so we could walk through the roster here, but what I want to do, Matty, is just walk through the roster just from quickly here. Sort of who's most likely to blank through the roster. And you can pick one for each answer here.
Sure, this seems like fun.
Yeah, let's do this. So tell me, who is most likely on the Cavs this season to get suspended for a game?
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, the first choice there is JR, right?
Yeah.
I think he's the hottest head, but I'm actually going to go with Timofey. Timofey, both because he's physical and there's an opportunity for him to have an altercation that would get him chucked and suspended. But I also think he complains to the refs so much that he could make the technical requirement for an automatic suspension, which I think is 16 or 17 Ts in the regular season.
He does complain a lot. That's true. I don't know how many Ts he gets though. I mean, unless we could Joy Crawford an inordinate amount early on.
I think he's going to open up more this year and complain more. That's what I'm guessing. So I'm gonna go Mozgov. Who's your pick?
Delhi.
Oh, really?
I think Delhi gets the unfair reputation, and gets an extra scant. He gets the lack of the benefit of the doubt. The exact opposite. The dirty reputation. I guess because he's Australian. People are like, Australians are assholes. So we're just gonna give it to him.
But this also means you think there's another incident of some sort.
I think there'll be an incident this year because I think he's
going to play.
He needs to play a lot early in the season, and I think the Cavs have his back. He developed a reputation in the league. You could see it with Horford, super nice guy. Everyone loves him. Getting so upset about it. I could see a couple of guys who are friends. I don't know. It's hard to predict these things, but I think someone's gonna come after Delhi. Delhi's gonna hold his ground. Something's gonna happen, and Delhi's the one who's gonna be fucked at the end of the day.
Gotcha.
I mean, look, obviously JR is most likely to be suspended, but it's the boring answer, right? So I think Delhi's my pick. But I think Mozgov is interesting. So who's most likely to have a sex picture leak? This might also be an obvious answer.
Yeah, I mean, my God, it's got to be JR. JR is the obvious one here, so let's not do that. Let's say I'm going to go TT because he's a photographer, very proud of his own looks, I'm very proud of the looks of the women that he dates, I think. I could see that happening. And he seems like he could get a little careless. He's a little fun-loving and wouldn't be thinking all the time.
I'll go with Mo Williams because Mo Williams seems to have trouble with
He's really forecasting it already too, Patty. You're right.
Yeah, he's starting with the body hair, this pubes.
His whole growth on Instagram has just been preparing us for that eventual.
Exactly. It won't be the kind of sex picture you want to see. It's not what you would think or really hope for. It's gonna be something really gross.
Yeah.
Just something just oversharing. That's gonna be the sex picture leak.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great thought.
So who is most likely to get traded, Matty, in the offseason?
Ooh. This is interesting. So I think it's got to be somebody with a little bit of upside that we would attach to the trade exemption that the trade chip basically that we have from Brendan Haywood. So I'm
right. Let's talk about more there.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Joe Harris.
Yeah,
supposedly you're gonna showcase early in the season. They want him to play. One of the reasons might be to sweeten it up so we can trade him instead of a draft pick or something. I don't know. So I'm gonna say Joe Harris.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I'd pick the same thing. I think Joe Harris is the easiest to move piece. Friendly rookie contract, second round pick, can hit threes, space the floor.
He's got to show a little something though, which makes me think, especially at the beginning of the year with Shumpert and Irving out, he might be able to get some run. And the talk around the team that they're really happy with him and think he's going to be good, didn't mesh at all with what I saw in preseason, the little preseason that I watched. And so it sort of feels like they're just talking up the stock right now.
Yeah. Who's your most likely to surprise?
I want to answer Joe Harris again, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say that we are pleasantly surprised by Richard Jefferson's play.
Yeah.
And some of that is the low expectations that we set for ourselves with Marion and Miller's years last year. I think we both thought we were going to get a lot more out of them. So I don't think he's going to be a world beater, but I think he's going to fit nicely into the team and contribute positively on a regular basis, and that'll be a nice surprise.
I'm going to say as a big FU to my beloved Cavs Twitter crowd who's so down on Andy.
Oh, Andy. Yes.
Andy's going to surprise. He's come back with a big year. Although, honestly, I'm probably wrong about this. As I'll explain later why I think Andy's going to have a slow start. But I think Andy's going to be surprised by the end of the year. Surprised just by finishing the season. Which he hasn't done, I think, in 4 straight years, right?
Yeah.
I think he'll finish the season, and I think he's going to be a really key cog in the playoffs, a key rotational guy. Matty, I have another question for you. Another most likely to. So we have our fantasy basketball draft tomorrow night.
Yes.
I want to know, who do you think I am most likely to overpay for? Which Cav I'm most likely to overpay for in draft tomorrow night?
Oh, that's great. I mean, the easy answer here is Andy, because he probably shouldn't go for more than $1, and you could. I think you might go in on that, but that's not really the spirit here.
Yeah.
I think you are most likely to overpay for. I'm gonna say TT.
Okay.
In a 14-team league, it's stretched a little thinner. It's hard. It's hard to overpay for LeBron, right? Depending on what you think about how many games he's going to skip. Kyrie's in a weird situation, so I'm not quite sure what overpaying there means. Love also, I think people think he's going to have a sort of a nice year. It's tempered a little bit by last year, but overpaying their stuff. So TT. I talked myself into it. TT.
For you, I say Kyrie, mostly because you're going to probably play close to full season value for him, even though he's going to be missing the first 2 months of the season, just because you love him so much.
It's definitely possible.
I see that coming.
My team yet either.
Yeah, it's possible for me too. I really wanted him last year, and our friend Skylar kind of screwed me.
Yeah,
but all right. Well, speaking of TT and Barazell, let's get into the actual X and O's here. The the front court rotation now, we talked about last year in the playoffs about just fans about how deep this rotation would be. It's even deeper now with Sasha Khan. We've got Kevin Love and Mozgov starting. First off the bench, TT and Varejao. And then we also have Sasha Khan. And then on top of that, you have the weird James Jones, LeBron James kind of 3-4 kind of role.
And Jefferson plus what? Play small ball 4 too.
Jefferson can play small ball 4 too. You're right.
Right. And with it, it seems like there's a lot more teams that want to try that this year. Mm-hmm. The Pacers talking about playing Paul George there. There's almost every team wants it as part of their repertoire.
Right.
I think we can play that way pretty easily. It's super deep. I mean, honestly, just between Mozgov, Love, and Thompson, 3 guys who are going to be paid at or near max contracts by next season. If you just play them for those 2 positions equally for the night, that's 32 minutes apiece.
Yeah.
That's not crazy minutes for any of them. I think you slice probably 7 minutes off of Mozgov's. I see him playing 25 minutes.
25, yeah.
But 32 is about right for Love and probably about right for TT.
Yeah, and TT's going not.
I mean, that's matchup dependent too, certainly, and we have the freedom to do that. But this is on an average. I think that's probably about what we want Andy playing a night, right? 7 to 10 minutes. Yeah, at least at first.
Yeah, certainly at first. I see him playing eventually 15 minutes a game. And the interesting thing is, TT is going to be TT is our 5th best player. He's going to play the 5th most minutes. Do you know what I mean? He's going to play more minutes than Mozgov. Just because he's more durable. He's going to be playing close to 30 minutes a game, I think, 28, 29, something like that, whereas Mozgov's going to play a little bit fewer. I kind of like to see Blatt alternate the starting center because TT is some people have been pointing out, TT is not really a power forward. He's a center. That's really what his role is because he can't shoot. He's undersized for a center, but he basically does the job passably well. And he becomes much more dynamic and valuable as a center. His ability to chase guys out on the perimeter and guard them and switch, right? So I'd like to see us, based on certain matchups, just throw TT out there as a starter and have Mozgov come off the bench. I don't know how that works into people's rhythm and stuff like that and expectations, yada, yada.
Yeah, it certainly seems counter to what Blatt likes to do, which is get his starting lineup set.
And grow from
there.
Although
honestly, starting doesn't really matter, right? It's just
exactly. As long as he's getting the starters minutes and finishing the games, so to speak, that'll make me happy because the best lineup we have eventually is Kyrie, Shump, LeBron, TT, and Love. We alternate Shump in for JR when JR is playing right.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that that means we have essentially 4 centers, right? And 1 true power forward in that sense of Love as the power forward, and then you have TT.
Yeah, I think you're pushing it too far to call TT a true center. I think we have I think it's true center. I mean, Andy's not even really a true center.
Yeah, and that's the whole point is that TT being a center is all at positionless basketball, which makes the stuff kind of less important.
Right.
But
what are you anticipating from Sasha Khan this year, Patty?
I see emergency minutes. I see Mozgov injury minutes. If Varejao goes down, then Khan's the first guy off the bench. I see him as being our perk. He's our emergency minute guy, and I'm sure we'll see him at some point.
That's right.
Yeah. But because he's apparently still very raw offensively, which means to say, a lot of people say raw offensively. He's 30 years old. That means he's bad offensively.
He's not used to the speed of the NBA, Pat.
He is tall. He is smart. But he's not good at basketball. So I think he'll be a useful guy, and more so than Perk. Hopefully, I haven't watched him play enough yet.
Right. If he's playing a ton of minutes, it means somebody's hurt or we're winning a lot of blowouts.
Yeah. What's interesting to me is that we're going to see Varejao. Yeah, we're going to see Varejao in an interesting role where I think he's going to be the stretch guy in a lot of lineups. Right. I think we'll see Varejao and TT lineups frequently because Varejao is the guy that can be in the perimeter a little bit and hit jump shots, which is a total change from 3 or 4 years ago, right? he was like TT before, not able to shoot outside shots, only being around the basket. But you don't want two of those guys. Funny thing is now Varejao can do that, but he's not so nimble on the perimeter to be able to do what he used to do in terms of showing up pick and rolls.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how we use him.
To be fair, I feel like Andy's offensive game was always more refined than TT's, even at his rawest. He's a much better finisher around the rim.
Oh, absolutely.
He's a better passer.
He's creative. He's more savvy on the pick and roll. Whereas Tristan Thompson's more just earth-shattering on the pick and roll when he gets elevated. But shifting to another thing, with the backcourt's going to be tricky without Kyrie or Shump start the season, right? We're going to be starting Mo Williams, who is just a sieve on defense, and J.R. Smith, who's solid on defense, but a little bit spacey at times.
Yeah.
But then after that, there's not much there. There's Delly, first guy off the bench, and then, what? Cunningham?
Joe Harris, my friend?
Joe Harris?
I think they're going to get a lot of minutes from Richard Jefferson at the 2, which scares me.
Yeah. That's not a really strong perimeter defense, and that strikes me. Doesn't that sound similar to the first 2 months last year?
Very.
Just having no resistance at the perimeter, which means that you got guards and wings flying at the rim unimpeded for our rim protectors to stop. Now, we have Mozgov. Mozgov's going to be able to help a little bit, but things are going to break down. Tristan Thompson's not great at rim protection. Varejao is not that good at that. Love is not that good at it. Those guys
it's really
are good.
Just Mozgov.
Yeah, those guys are good when they have a Khan maybe might be good at it. We'll see. But those guys, Love and TT and Varejao are good when they're in the system, right? When they're in the right position, where they can just play solid defense, man-on-man, one-on-one. I think we're going to see an early. We're gonna have a hard time defensively early on. It's going to be ugly, and I think we might lose a lot of games early on because Kyrie and Shump aren't there. I think we'll start out with that 19 and 20 type vibe. It's going to be ugly a little bit. Offense might be a little better, so we might be better off in the win-loss total because we'll have had a full season.
You think we're going to be 19 and 20 at the halfway point?
No. I meant that it's going to have that vibe. The game, some of the games are going to be ugly. So be prepared, guys. That's what I think. We're going to have some ugly games.
I think we're not going to hear any of the panic from the media we heard last year, though, right? It'll be a very different atmosphere.
Especially because TT's back. If TT wasn't back, we'd be hearing the exact same shit, probably.
Yeah. Okay. That's
with a different tone. So, but that's my concern, and that's why I think Varejao is going to be maligned further by Cavs Twitter because he's going to be having terrible metrics because he's going to be getting guys like he did last year flying towards the rim. And what the fuck is he going to do?
Yeah.
He's not built for that, and he's going to be terrible at it. So that's my thought about how we're facing that. Any thoughts you have to share?
Any thoughts on the start or just in general?
Well, let's move on to X and O's. I'll give you extra questions as opposed to, hey, Matt, say something.
Good.
One thing I wanted to start doing with this podcast, this preview, is to look forward to things to watch for in games, right? So, in particular, like the offensive sets, what are the things that you're looking for that you think are things to look out for when you watch the games early on that will tell you about what Blatt's trying to do with the team, whether we should be worried,
sure,
or what something that's interesting to look forward to. What are you looking for in these games early on?
So the biggest thing for me, and especially because Kyrie's out, and this is sort of a little bit of a theme in the offseason, is what's going on with Kevin Love. I think that's what I'm going to be watching most for, and what I'm personally most interested in is, are we using him in a way that is more effective and involved than what we did last year, where his offense was sort of a couple plays where we post him up and dump it down to him, and then we get sick of that, and then essentially he was just hanging out on the wing, trying to keep a man out there and shoot threes, which is not the best. I don't think that's maximizing what we can get out of him. So I think
what's interesting is sorry, go ahead.
So I was going to say, what I would love to see is more of what he did in Minnesota, which is being positioned at the elbows, being in a place to facilitate, I think he's good there. I think I want to get more out of his post-up game this year. I want to get more out of his passing. I think there's some trust from LeBron there, but it also puts us in the position where we can have LeBron running off the ball more, or shooters running off the ball more, and facilitating from him. I think it's a look that could work and gets the most out of him, and would also sort of silence a lot of the stuff around, do those component parts still work together, which is still out there for some reason.
Yeah, the counter to this that I've seen statistically was that while it's not the best use of Love as a person and as a talent, it was the best use of Love for the team, in the sense that while he had really high elite numbers in terms of his post-up game, in terms of his passes out of the elbow, yada yada, the stats we got with him just basically camping out on the 3-point line were way higher. Like, the amount of points per possession when he did that stuff was way higher. And when we let LeBron or Kyrie do their things, those were all higher, and those were the more optimal things to do. So I won't be disappointed. I will be.
So the reason I hear what you're saying, the reason I would be is because there's no Kyrie. And I want to prepare for a universe in which he's not available, because his health is the
up
most
and down
concerning for me right now. And I think we should be able to be an elite offense without Kyrie in there. And I think utilizing Love in this other way is pretty crucial to that.
Yeah, that's a great point. And LeBron's been hinting at it and throughout the preseason. And certainly there's hints that that's what they've talked about in their special meeting, right? Right before Love re-signed for the max. But what's interesting to me is, so that dynamic to begin with, one. But two, I think also that's missing. We didn't really try to use him the way he was used before. And I think a full season of doing that, I wonder if, those numbers get up because he's surrounded by better players. So if teams have to worry about that and freak out about that, does that open up things for other guys?
For sure.
One. And then two, obviously, with Kyrie out, we need to find a way to be effective without him on offense. And that's a really talented guy we got, so it'd be nice to use him. I agree with that.
What are you looking for?
Well, a couple things. I just noticed, Love in the pick and roll. People like seeing that. I remember, when we were reading about him before he traded for him, what a dream it would be, right? This big guy who can hit those shots. He's so scared about taking the jump shots, whatever. He apparently, he was historically bad as the roll man in pick and rolls last year. So that's interesting. So one, you shouldn't freak out if you don't see Kevin Love sitting a lot of picks and doing the pick and roll game. If you see it early, it'll be interesting just because it didn't work out for us well last year. So I'm not looking for that. I'm also not looking for. I'm not looking for LeBron in the post at all.
No.
No, everyone says, LeBron, or like Jalen Rose saying, LeBron's already a 4, so why do you need Kevin Love? He's not a 4. He can be a 4 in the playoffs. I will only see him in the 4 in certain games where it's a big matchup thing against a good team. Like when we saw LeBron go in the post against the Warriors late in the regular season last year.
Yeah,
basically foreshadowing how he played them in the finals. LeBron is only going to do that in spots to keep it sharp, but it is a bruising way to play. If he wants to shave his body, I don't want to see him in the post at all. So if I see him in the post early, I'm going to be a little worried because I don't want him doing that.
Yeah, it seems like you're really going to be careful with him this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
absolutely. What I'm really looking forward to is seeing LeBron off the ball.
Yes.
I want to see LeBron dominate the ball. He's playing point guard. He'll probably play a lot of it now with Kyrie out. But what I'd like to see him do is just dump the ball off to Kevin Love in the elbow and start doing some off-ball action.
Yeah.
Like that's first of all gonna make it so easy for Kevin Love at the elbow, knowing that at least 2 or 3 defenders are gonna be freaked out while LeBron's doing running around the court, right?
Yeah.
Which gives Kevin Love all this open space to do shit and wreak havoc, right? That's what I really want to see more than anything. But that does require Love to be at the elbow to pull that stuff off. I'll be interested to see also if Black gets any of his motion offense,
that's
implemented.
That's really.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I didn't hear much about it in the preseason. Did you?
Likewise, none whatsoever. I feel like Black has given up on it.
Last year, there was tons of talk about it in the preseason, right? There was that Mike Miller quote where he was like, "It's some borderline genius stuff he's got put in here," and then we didn't see that really at all during the season.
You would see with a bunch of second units when there was no offensive creator out there, because it was a big problem for us most of the year last year. And Blatt was like, you know what, we got nothing to create this. We're gonna run my shit. That's the only thing we can do, because he was used to working with undermanned teams, right? And so that's what he would use his motion offense for. That's when he got to get play out of it, which tells me that they were still running it in practices, right? He just didn't run it with the big guys,
right?
So I that's something really to look for. If you see that, that means that Blatt has stepped up a bit in terms of reaching his players.
Well, and I think that really means he's stepped up a bit in reaching LeBron, right?
Yeah, that's sort of what I mean.
I mean, that's what that means, right?
You can't reach the players if you don't reach LeBron.
Yeah.
But so that'll be a hugely positive sign. It won't be negative if you don't see it, because I can see Blatt being just realistic and being like, you know what, it doesn't fit this team as well. We don't need it. We have such talented players. We don't need to run the extra motion, and it's it's not worth the fight. It's still not a bad sign not to see it, because the motion's not the be all end all. It's just I like seeing a lot of movement, a lot of plays, and stuff like that, as opposed to ISO. But you can have good basketball without motion offense. You can have basketball that's not isolations, nonstop. And I think because without Kyrie, we're not going to be able to do as much ISO, because we're only going to have LeBron and Kevin Love. So, that's how I feel about that. Anything to look for on defense in terms of how we defend people that you are looking for?
So the big worry going into this year is the one you already talked about, which is our perimeter D. Without Shumpert and Irving, and really without Shumpert is what I think I really mean there, right? Because Irving Irving's better than Mo Williams, but he's still not a world beater or anything out there. So I think what that man-to-man stuff does to the rest of our schemes and what we allow or don't allow while that's going on, I think is going to be interesting at the beginning of the year. I mean, I'm not going to read too much into it, just because knowing that we have Shumpert ready to come back will change things somewhat dramatically. But I think it'll be a nice little test for us early on. And how much it doesn't end up looking like last year will be telling in some way to me. Right? Like, does that mean Mozgov is enough? Does that mean the team's just together more and knows how to deal with it? I don't know.
And I think I may have oversold a little bit too, because JR is better than what we had at shooting guard last year to start the year, which was what? Shawn Marion? Is that who started at shooting guard last year? Can't remember.
Remember Mr. Dion Waiters?
Oh my God.
Have you forgotten him so quickly, Patty?
Well, because he got benched so quickly too. I totally forgot that. Yeah, and he was not doing what we were expecting him to do.
No.
JR has been better defensively for us, at least.
Miles better for sure.
Yeah. So that's an improvement. One, I also think that
who I left out there, Patty, that's not fair that we totally forgot about is Delhi.
Yeah. To the defense?
Defense. Yeah. I mean, that whole defensive squad was predicated on Delhi and Shumpert at the guards. And,
Delhi isn't a world beater on defense. He is athletically overmatched most of the time, but he's smart. He's smart as shit. When he gets beat, he'll just foul before they can get shot up, before anything happens. He plays smart. Personnel a little better, but two, I think we also were really over aggressive on hedging on pick and rolls early in the season, and we switched to the ice, which is to force the roll man down the baseline, right? So forcing the action down the baseline sort of helped cover for the big man under the rim a little bit, get a little more time. If we do that early in the season, I think it'll be less of a tire fire than it was last year. But I still think we're going to be disappointed at the defense early in the season, given what a high level they were playing at the end of the year. So be ready for that.
Don't you think that the missing pieces are enough for people to be like, they probably will round back into form here, and it's not a reason to forget?
Oh yeah. Once we get the guys all back together, we get the band back together, Kyrie, who really was playing a high level defensively at the end of the year last year. Certainly in the finals before he got hurt again. Come on, that game where he blocked Steph Curry's attempted game winner.
Yeah,
off the
backboard. I will
say
he got beat to the
from
spot
behind
on that play too. It was amazing.
Recovery, but that's my point. Is that like he's taken a big step defensively, and I hope to see it carry over in this next year because he's also changing his game to take less balls. I wonder if he's going to start changing his game to shift this energy over into defense and realize how important that is. Look, if Steph Curry can do it. Steph Curry was like complete liability on defense until last season, and he became an average defender last year. Then Kyrie can do it too. Anyway, yeah. So those are my thoughts about defense. Those things to look for early in the season. All right, we covered defense trade exception. We talked a little bit about. Do you think we're going to use the trade exception this year? We have a big $10 million trade exception. What can we use it for?
It's so I think the question there is who shakes loose that's available that we honestly think would help on this team that somebody's willing to do for the trade exception plus a sweetener, which I mentioned earlier, could be somebody like Joe Harris if they play him a lot and he looks good, or our 2018 first round pick or some mix of second round picks. And we don't have to use the whole thing. We can use part of it. So I think it's a little early to speculate on who those players could be because the universe will sort of depend on how teams are performing come January, February.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think we would be aggressive in using it if we thought we could, right? Like I think that 2018 pick should probably be on the table. So we're in the window now where we need to push whatever buttons we need to if we think it's going to help us win. We're not. The 2018 doesn't mean anything. That draft doesn't mean anything. So I'm going to say, we use it. I think it'll mean giving us that.
Here's my. I'll go on a limb. I'll say we're not going to use it. We're going to expire, unless if we're healthy all year. When our guys come back, when Kyrie and Shump come back, and we're healthy the rest of the year.
We have no season-ending injuries. In other words.
Yeah, or just like concerning things that might linger into the playoffs. We might need some depth here.
Okay.
If that doesn't happen, I think we expire because you have to understand that also adding that salary to this team makes it harder to re-sign Mozgov, makes it harder to re-sign our guys. So it has to be a real clear and obvious upgrade. And
or
an expiring contract. Or expiring, yeah, absolutely. I can see that happening, but that's all I can see it being. Not a real actual piece that we'll use.
No, I don't think we're going to get. I mean, honestly, because this team doesn't really need. We don't need a starting anything. We have.
That's my point.
Basically, so I could still see us. I guess I'm saying I'll bet that it'll happen because it's likely that something will happen that'll make us want to do that, and we're in a position where we should do whatever we have to do to try to put ourselves in the best position to win.
Yeah. But to quote Gene Hackman and Hoosiers, this is your team. Like this is the team. I don't see how we're going to upgrade in any position. If this team is healthy, I don't see any minutes for anyone else. It'd be great if we could upgrade in certain spots, but that's not really entirely realistic. I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why I think we're going to end up eating it at the end of the day. But it's nice to have that as flexibility in case of injury and we need to pull someone in, plug a hole. That's where I think will happen. All right, Matty, to wrap up our Cavs portion of the preview, a couple things first. So regular listeners of the podcast and our friends certainly know our friend Scott Fuller, known as Scooter, who is formerly a man of substance and honor. But now has been corrupted by the dark side. He was so corrupted by his loyalty to the Cavs that he never forgave LeBron for leaving, and so he let it spoil and ruin the joy of his return and the most important playoff run in Cleveland sports since LeBron left. He still hates the Cavs, roots against them, is not on board for the ride. My question, Matty, does Scooter do right by his hometown at any point this season? Do you think there's any chance he's around?
He's so prideful and stubborn.
Mm.
So prideful and stubborn. He won't.
I see the good in him, Matt. I see the good in him. I know he wants to do right. Scooter, if you're listening, I haven't given up on you. I believe in you. I can see the good in you.
The stubbornness has overtaken him.
Come to the good. Come to the light side.
He won't do it.
Don't give in to anger, Scott. That way leads to the dark side.
You're not helping with this either, by the way.
With the Star Wars stuff? Is that helping him?
Not that. Just trying to get him at all. Trying to sway him. Because then it's going to make him feel like it's not his decision. He's super stubborn.
Yeah.
Think of the deep psychosis that's behind all
that. Are you telling me I need to treat him like my 4-year-old child, and when he's misbehaving and just ignore him? Pretend like he doesn't exist and ignore him entirely?
Yeah, and then
the behavior will correct itself?
I still don't think his behavior will correct itself, but that's the only chance you've got.
All right. Scott, I know you love my attempts to get you to, be a man and cheer for your hometown team. If you don't want that to stop, you need to just, do what's right. Otherwise, I'm going to start ignoring you and treat you like a child. That's what's going to happen. All right. Maddie, win predictions.
Look forward to watching
that. Yeah. Win predictions. What are your predictions of the season? How many wins are we going to get this year?
I think we win. What did we get last year? 53?
Something like that, yeah.
I think we'll do I'll give us one for the effort. I'll say we'll do 54 this year.
Oh, okay. I'll say 57, 58.
I think
we're going to
they're capable of doing that. I think they just take the foot off the pedal a bunch of times during the season. I think LeBron totally 60 games. They don't rush Kyrie back. They don't really care.
Totally agree.
Home court in the first round, and maybe that's even enough. They could finish the 3rd seed and be okay. They're going to feel
I just think the dysfunction in the first 2.5 months of the season
will be dramatically less than last year.
Yes. So even though we're not going to get full strength first 2 months of the season, we're not even going to be in first place. We might not even get the first seed in the East, and that's why I believe that. But I think that we're going to get closer to 57. Like we'll get at least 4 more wins, I think, out of this team, even with the foot off the pedal. I put in here on our outline postseason predictions. I don't like that. Do you want to give?
No, I don't want to do. I don't want to do it either.
Fuck that. We know what's at stake. It's championship or bust, and this team's certainly built for it. And fuck it, we'll see what happens.
The predictions would say more about us than they would about the team.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very uncomfortable with the fact that the GMs.
It would just be if I thought I was jinxing it by saying it or not. It would have nothing to do with. It would be my own stupidity.
Precisely, in silliness. So instead, let's talk about the first week. This week we have coming up. Tuesday is the season opener at Chicago. We start the season on a back-to-back on the road.
I know, it's pretty rough.
Fuck you, NBA. Against two playoff teams, Chicago and then Memphis.
Yep.
Fuck, man. Jesus. So anyway, Tuesday Chicago, Wednesday Memphis, and then Friday our home opener against the Heat. I mean it's not murderer's row, so to speak, but it's rough.
Oh, it's a tough opening. 3 and 4 nights.
The Heat wasn't weren't a playoff team last year, but they're certainly expected to be this year.
Yeah.
That's rough. How do you see this going? Let's get your prediction on the first week. We could just sort of do like a week by week prediction thing.
Sure. So I think we go 1 and 2 here. I think we get because it's at home. I think we get the Heat. But I'm going to say we drop Chicago and Memphis. That's Memphis's home opener, Chicago's home opener. I have to feel like it's sort of like not as bad as last year's, but
so you're saying we're going to start 0-2?
We underperform a little bit. I think we lose that. Memphis jumps on us on the next night, fully rested. 1 and 2, I say. What about you?
Yeah, I think 1 and 2 is very likely, but I want to say 2 and 1. I want to think that we steal it from Chicago because I hate those motherfuckers.
I do too. But I think I'm going to get angry starting the year off. Doesn't that seem most likely?
Yeah, no, the thing that worries me is that 0 and 3 is actually a real possibility, just because how discombobulated we are. How TT's only got a couple of games to practice, and We don't know what LeBron's back is like. Kevin Love is not like, has only been playing a couple of minutes here and there. He's not full 100%. We could totally start 0-3. So call me roll, everyone. I think 1 and 2 is but I agree with you. I think 1 and 2 is the safest bet, which is hard to say. But that's a tough slate to start off on, and we're not at full speed here. So let's move on to the rest of the NBA before we move on to more depressing matters. Matty, what are the teams you're most scared of this year?
Well, in the East, I still feel.
Can anyone challenge us in the East for real? I mean, I hate talking like that, but who's the real
a team could definitely get a better record than us, right? I don't think I'd bet on us getting the top seed
easily, but yeah,
playoff teams that could do that. I think it's Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
God, I feel like Atlanta's going to slip. I don't think the Wizards can make that jump. I know some people are really high on them. I think they're going to be fine. I just don't think they're going to go up that much. The Heat scare me, but I don't think will really get there. And not Toronto, Boston's not going to be that good. So I think it's really Chicago. They could really have a better. Chicago, they could have a better record than us. And the teams that would scare me in the playoffs, I think if the Heat get there, they scare me. And the Bulls, the Hawks don't, the Wizards don't. I think it's really those two teams for me. What about you?
Yeah. Preseason-wise, the Heat, who scare me the most in the playoffs. Regular season, I don't give a shit if anyone takes the first seed.
I don't either.
I care more about the playoffs and the Heat are the team that scares me the most. We never play them well, and now they're better, right? They have Hassan Whiteside. They have Chris Bosh. They have a good point guard in Goran Dragic. They have, whatever's left of Wade.
Gerald Green.
Yeah, Josh McRoberts. So that's a scary team, except for Amari Stoudemire.
Or it also might not work, and they could I think there's very good arguments for them not being much better.
But
that circle around health and ability of those guys to there's a world in which the train goes off the tracks for this team.
Yeah, Luol Deng doesn't have much left.
No, Dwayne Wade doesn't have much left. Chris.
No, exactly.
Life-threatening illness, which I think he's back and fine from, but still.
He's doing pharmaceutical ads with Kevin Nealon and Arnie Palmer, so that can't be good for his prognosis as an NBA player this year.
Boy.
Oh God, yeah, he got added to that. It started with Kevin Nealon and Arnie Palmer, and now he's tacked on to it.
I saw a race car driver in one. I didn't see him. That's not good.
Yeah, race car driver too. I'm just like, you know what? Walking around with a bunch of old people and a comic on a golf course makes you look like you're retired. That's not a good look.
Yeah.
But anyway. So the other one, they scare me the most.
Apart, but things could also go really right there, I feel like, and they could scare me.
My wild cards were scaring me. Like, I'm not scared of Boston. I'm not scared of Chicago. I'm not scared of Atlanta. They'll probably do well. I'm not scared of Washington, although I think they're going to be really good this year. I'm one of those people that's kind of high on them. If they are going to start shooting three-pointers and Bradley Beal's going to stop shooting Deion Waiters' long-range two-point shots, as he seems to say he's going to start doing.
Right.
I get more scared of Washington as a team because they have some good pieces, and that's a solid team, good defense, and that could be a dangerous team. The teams that scare me the most because I don't know what to think of them are Milwaukee. Milwaukee might be terrible and nothing's going to happen. They might miss the playoffs for all I know, but they kind of scare me, Matty, just because. Good defense. They're insanely creepily long. Like their shortest player is I don't know, but they're incredibly long.
Front court they're starting, or not front court, but starting lineup that they have.
Yeah, it's very creepy and weird. And if they put it together, that's a terrifying team. But I don't know what to think of. Boston, I hate to say this, but they played us hard. It was that's one of those funny things like this. That's the hardest. It was the hardest fought sweep, They're a bunch of assholes. They play fake rough, which means they injure people, and they have a smart coach. I don't see anything that really scare me long term, but I can see them again, the same kind of thing where they play us hard and they get someone hurt on our team if we see them in the playoffs. So they scare me a little bit.
That's a different kind of scared.
Yeah, that's true. But I'll also be just really annoyed to see them do well at all. I don't want to see them get a top 4 seed. I'll just be so annoyed. Just fucking
the Celtics do?
Just go fuck yourself already. Yeah, I know people talking about them.
They're not going to get a top 4 seed.
Baby Hawks, people are talking about them, Matty. They're the darling pick for top 4 seed.
I mean, I would be so shocked if that happened. They don't get an automatic one for winning the division,
No, I know.
That's gone.
People are talking about them though. They're saying this is like because everyone's still got Brad Stevens' cock in their mouth. So
I feel like they're going to regress this year.
I hope so. That's just those motherfuckers deserve it.
I guess they added Amir Johnson and David Lee. People are excited about, but David Lee stopped playing for a good team for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he can do some things, but he's such a liability in defense. I don't know.
I forgot they traded for him.
Yeah.
Which annoyed me because they just helped out the Warriors cap-wise.
So I don't know.
Matty,
I hear what you're saying. I don't think they're going to get I'll be shocked if they get a 4 seed. That would be crazy to me. I think they're fighting for the fringes of the playoffs.
Fair enough.
They by that division.
Who are your biggest concerns out of the West? Just briefly here, because
so we won't go.
It's hard to pick. It's Murderers Row. It's 6 teams, right?
Spurs.
There's 6 teams
Rockets,
to worry about, right?
Spurs, Rockets, Warriors, Clippers, Thunder,
Memphis.
I don't think Memphis.
That'd be my 6th.
I think Memphis is past their window. Honestly, I don't think they can get through it. They don't.
You're probably right. There's certainly 6 on my list, but I put them in the window because of how they play defense. But
like, there's a world with the Pelicans if Anthony Davis just goes absolutely bananas where they could scare me. But they're not going to get through. I think it's those 5 teams are the teams that could get through in the West. Yeah. And so that's who scares me. Anybody else, like Utah could be frisky and. I don't know. Right? Sacramento, I guess. Sacramento people think might make a little leap, but we're not going to see any of those teams in the playoffs. So
no. Who are out of those 5 or 6? Who are the 1, 2, 3 scariest?
Gosh, I think it is Warriors.
Agreed. Warriors number 1.
Rockets.
Interesting. Rockets. Spurs.
And
this
is interesting. I'm going to put the Clippers there now.
Yeah. No, that's my 3rd. Is the Clippers? Rockets are 4 for me. I just.
Who do you have up there? The Spurs.
Spurs number 2. Just with LaMarcus Aldridge and Pop.
I started with Zach.
They're old.
They're a little too old.
I agree. They're getting older, but like they've been too old for like 5 fucking years.
That's true. And Kawhi Leonard's real good. I think
he's so good.
Danny Green. That's
nasty.
That's a nasty 3 players to roll out there.
The Spurs will have to be bad for like 4. It's one of those things like with I don't know, Half-Lifes. Like they have to be buried and dead in the ground for 5 years before I stop being afraid of them.
Yeah.
Like they're creepy, scary.
That's a good point. I've just been brainwashed from listening to Lowe say this, but the Rockets, man, they also have a certain train wreck potential to them, but that's a really deep team, man.
They scare me too, but because of how they should have been destroyed by the Clippers, and I feel like the Clippers lost that series more than the Rockets won it. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no.
I'm not as scared of them. But they do play the analytics game and they're built for it, and that's scary. They're up there. I feel like a top 3 is unfair. A top 4 is my real fear factor. The OK City is a wild card.
Yeah, fine.
But because of who they are and Donovan, who knows how he's going to coach, but we gotta see. I'm more scared. They're definitely 5 outside of that group. I put Houston Rockets number 4 for sure.
I agree. They got to show something. The rant that he's healthy, etc.
The Clippers have a proven coach, and were world beaters in the playoffs until they fucking choked. So
yeah,
who knows if they figure it out? That's a big question mark. But let's see. Any non-Cavs you expecting a bust loose this year? You're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Paul George being back. I like Paul George.
Yeah, big time. I like him too.
He's a fun player that I think is gonna. I'd love to see him come back to where he was. I mean, he was a top 10 player in the league before he got hurt.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would love to see him get back there. I'm looking forward to a full season starting of Rudy Gobert.
Oh shit! Yeah,
he's a lot of fun. And I'm also looking forward to seeing and a little concerned about seeing Jabari Parker back, coming off the injury, of course, but he was a nice looking rookie, and on my fantasy league team before he got hurt.
And also, Andrew Wiggins had this fantastic in the preseason. He started from halfway down the paint. Got his man got the ball, got a pass for a pick and pop 3-pointer. Wiggins closed and blocked the shot and took it back for a dunk. It was, so like Wiggins. I'm also excited about seeing Wiggins develop, especially because you mentioned Parker. It reminded me that our friend Jeff Versteeg and I have a bet about after year 3.
That's right. Are you going to extend that to year 4 because of the injury?
I have to look back at our email. We had provisions for injuries.
Oh, okay.
But I feel like we're ignoring the first 2 or 3 seasons. It's the third or fourth season. I forget which one it is. I think it's the third season. That's the one that matters. We're ignoring the first 2 seasons. It's all about season number 3 kind of thing.
That's fine.
Of not the built up, but because there might be some growing pains. But by year 3, where are they at? How do they compare in that season? I think that's how we did this. I'll have to look it up. And we might postpone it by a year if someone gets injured in year 3. We'll see about that. Who's your top MVP candidate? I mean, so another guy I'm excited to watch for a full season this year is the Brow.
Yes.
He's sort of my front runner for MVP this year.
So it's possible that his numbers are just so off the charts, his play so off the charts that he gets it. It'll be an interesting test because they're not going to be. I think, especially based on injuries, they might struggle to get into the playoffs this year. So often you need to be the best player on the best team gets it a lot in the NBA.
Right.
So he's in the top. I'd put him in my top 3 if I had it. I think any Cav is going to hard. I don't think LeBron's going to play enough. Kyrie's not going to play enough. I don't think Love has the cachet to get into that now.
Right.
And the Cavs' regular season won't look as impressive as what some teams do out west. So I don't think it's them. I'm going to go. KD, if he's healthy, is back into the conversation. I think Harden's way up there.
Yeah, especially if he didn't get it last year, so there'll be some sentiment for that. I think Curry's a real long shot to get it, only because
I agree.
The groundswell of the feel-good story last year, the unexpectedness of his ascendancy, but also he played so amazingly last year. I mean, he's got to completely match it or exceed it.
Yeah, I think he's likely,
which is certainly within his ability. Yeah, I think that's a likely thing to happen. So we'll have to see what happens. Alrighty. Nate, should we move on to Saturday?
Sure, we can move on. I don't want to take a lot of time with it though.
No, we're already like an hour and a half into this, so should probably move quickly to wrap this thing up a little bit.
I don't think this deserves a lot of time.
So the Cleveland Browns played a football game with the St. Louis Rams.
What I watched, Pat?
Yeah, it's a technical term for it. In America, they call it football. I have a big question though. Did Bo play? Did Dwayne Bowe play?
Pat, our weekly update. I did not see Dwayne Bowe on the field today. I believe he
Bo
was
Watts.
a healthy scratch.
Scratch. I've seen some tweets before the game saying Dwayne Bowe is practicing like he's going to play, but of course he's going to be a healthy scratch.
So weird, isn't it?
Can someone? Has someone not made a Panda Watch gift for Dwayne Bowe?
It should just be a video of his locker to see if it's getting cleaned out at any one moment. Nope.
Bowe Watch.
Still hangers in there.
Is he playing? He is still not playing. $9 million guaranteed. I have nothing to say about the game per se. I mean, well, I'll say this. Nothing. I have something to say about the game, but I'll say it quickly, which is this is a surprisingly encouraging game given our low bar in terms of how most of the game, isolating 6 plays, was played. Our offense, most of the game, was good and moving the ball. Our defense, most of the game, was getting stops.
Yeah.
But there were the fumbles we didn't get, the fumbles we gave up. Can we stop, Matt? Can we please, for the love of fucking God, stop throwing swing passes that are anticipated and so obvious so that the receiver catching the ball turns around and gets popped. Like, I've seen this play like at least 7 times where a guy gets a swing pass on a little bubble screen and gets destroyed.
Yeah, it happens so often.
Stop calling. Flip, stop fucking calling it. They got it. They know what's happening. Stop calling it. Jesus. It's just this team is so terrible. Real bad. But as you pointed out in the game, there were some good. I mean, we were playing like a real football team.
Yeah, there's the kindest interpretation of this game is, I was texting this with you, my brother, right? There were 5 fumbles. We only recovered 1 of them. That's a little bit of bad luck, right? You think we'd get one of those others, I guess. That fumble turned right into a score, obviously. I think the refs did us no favors today, and I know it's a stupid thing to say in a game where you got blown out, but that holding call on Joe Thomas on the Benjamin catch, I thought was a terrible call.
Horrible call. It was not. I mean, it was borderline because he did have his hands. When a player is perpendicular, when the shoulder's perpendicular to your chest, and you have your hands in them, that's a hold. It's sort of the same way when a player is when a defensive player is on the outside of the pack trying to chase a running back, and he looks like he should be able to get him, but somehow he's being touched by the offensive lineman and he can't break away. Right. And all of a sudden, it seems like he's moving through molasses or something like that. That's one of those plays that's like an obvious hold. It's the kind of thing where you just automatically throw the flag. When you get in that position, you go, "Oh, that looks like a hold. That's a holding play." That happened on the touchdown run for Todd Gurley today at Orchard. It was the most obvious hold on the fucking planet, which makes me say, Matty, bring it back to our series we had in the playoffs.
What the ref?
The Cavs. What the ref? What the ref was that?
I was glad to see Patton go nuts on that one.
Wait, I'm sorry. Hold the phones. Matt, you saw Patton go nuts? I didn't see any of that shit.
Well, I guess to be fair, I didn't see Patton go nuts. I read on Twitter that he went bonkers on the ref after that play.
Not that good at him. All I saw him do was mean mug on the sidelines like a fucking mark.
I had some friends, Pat, tell me that it was very weird to see him without sunglasses. Did you agree?
I didn't even think about that. That's a good point. It was weird. I guess because there's an indoor stadium. So
he's very by the book, Pat. You don't wear sunglasses indoors. Them's the rules. Pat, I would like to say that my call from I had a call last week that was absolutely correct. It took close to the end of the game, but I believe I said that Josh McCown was going to get knocked out of this game by the Rams defensive line.
You're right.
Sure enough.
You're right. He should. I think he got knocked out in the first quarter on one of those hits. Maybe the one where he got hit out of bounds late and didn't get called, obviously.
Yeah.
And then slid and hit the wall or whatever, and that was where he really hurt himself. And I feel like he played through the game with that injury, and eventually when he got one more hit, he was like, "All right, that's it. I can't." More importantly, More important, I think the medical staff said, you know what, we got to pull him out of the game.
He really got roughed up, man.
I don't think he was going to keep going in that game. I think the coaching staff said we got to pull him out of the game. He's clearly hurt.
So Pat, along those lines, I've got another question for you, which is the offensive line had a pretty rough game.
Yeah.
It's particularly bothersome to me were all the false start penalties. I think there were 4 of them. And I read somebody after the game was like, well, they had a lot of problem with crowd noise. But then I also read that the stadium was half full. So I don't see how they could, unless they were pumping it in, which I think is illegal. I don't see how they could be.
It is illegal.
I don't see how it could have been that loud to excuse. I mean, there's no excuse for that many, but to even offer as explanation.
Yeah.
That many starts.
We asked Uncle Grant during the game. I don't think he gave us an answer or any kind of theory for why the false starts were happening. I mean, some of it was bullshit, I thought. Some of it was really ticky-tack. And what bothered me, again, was the ticky-tack calls were not being called both ways. But to me,
ticky-tacks really are.
What bugs me about ticky-tack calls in particular is when your team is fucking terrible and the calls don't actually matter to the outcome.
Yeah.
It's just rubbing your face in the fucking dirt. It's just like, God, come on.
Pat, I guess
I have to watch this goddamn team already. I have to deal with these fucking bullshit calls too.
That's the overwhelming
feeling complaints about it.
I had from this was that even if the couple we talked about, if breaks had gone away, I think we still would have blown this. Like their offense was going to break our defense, and their defense was going to break our offense eventually in that game. And they had a bit more of a cushion when the dam finally burst on both sides, but the dam was going to burst at some point.
Exactly.
No matter.
Matt, did you realize that a bit of good news, the silver lining here, we have the best right tackle in football?
Yeah, he was amazing today, wasn't he?
Mitchell Schwartz. Amazing. Pro Football Focus ranks Mitchell Schwartz the best right tackle in football and 7th. 7th among all tackles.
It seems unlikely, doesn't it? It seems very unlikely to me. I do not.
So on the Browns, I'm quoting from Pro Football Focus's the research on the Browns, 260 dropbacks, 81 have been 7-step drops, which is the second highest in the league. This puts more pressure on the offensive line, which is factored into the rankings. Schwartz has given up only 12 total pressures on those 260 dropbacks, but 1 in 22 plays. Matty, I guess I noticed every single one, and in my mind, I just multiplied it by 30. Every single fucking time I see him drop back to pass, I see Mitchell Schwartz being overwhelmed by a defensive lineman. I feel like this every time. How is this possible, Matty?
I think, I'd like to bet on you just being wrong.
It's a very good bet to make. I'm wrong about many things, especially.
But I will agree with you that Mitchell Schwartz is the best right tackle in the league does not pass the eye test to me.
Not at all. I mean, I don't watch enough football, but they put some other points out here. Von Miller entered. Von Miller, the Broncos linebacker, entered last Sunday's game, leading the league in pressures against Schwartz. He got just 1 pressure. I don't really remember there being only 1 pressure in that game. I feel like the right side of the line was giving him a lot of pressure in that game. They say he's not Schwartz is not a dominant run blocker, but he's better than average, ranking 9th in the league in his position. Joe Thomas, by comparison, ranks 4th among all tackles. So he's only 3 spots behind Joe Thomas. Really?
It doesn't add up.
Pro Football Focus. I don't know, man. They gave McCown an initial grade of minus 2.3 for his game against the Ravens, a final grade of minus 0.3, 0 being an average game. That's 0 is an average rating, basically, right? So a minus 2.3 after he threw for 457 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Ravens.
That seems weird.
I mean, guys, it's embarrassing. I don't get it. I mean, honestly, if Pro Football Focus was right, then we'd have a better record, right? We'd have. I mean, just
that's almost indisputable.
Jesus Christ, guys, get your shit together. All right, Matty. Anything else you have to say before we wrap up tonight?
Honestly, this was a depressing game. It's a depressing season. It doesn't change how I feel so much. Let's see what happens next. I mean, this wasn't a fireable offense game to me from a coaching staff perspective. This was a did you know favors, did you know harm kind of game.
Mm-hmm. So end of the year, Matty, you keeping this coaching staff as of now?
Right now,
at the end of the year.
Right now, I'm keeping them.
Right.
You're firing them?
I'm probably still firing them. Yeah. I mean, the only reason I don't fire them is just because
continuity.
Continuity for continuity's sake.
No, that's really what I'm thinking about.
Yeah, but I feel like they're still. Right. I don't see any hope. Yeah. And there's no point in keeping a guy for another year that you're going to fire next year. Why would you keep a guy for one more year that you're going to fire next year and delay the process of starting over?
Right.
You're delaying everything. You're wasting years by keeping them.
I hear that.
So I'm still firing them.
Yeah.
Well, I can't end on this fucking note, Matty. What are you looking for tomorrow, Tuesday night? Cavs Bulls. What's the one thing you want to see happen that you think is going to happen? Cavs Bulls.
The one thing I'd love to happen is just a nasty TT rebound and throwdown on or around Joakim Noah. That would make me very happy. I don't need a win tomorrow night. A win certainly would make me happy, but just a rejuvenated TT in there doing something to the guy I hate would be a lot of fun for me. What about you?
Hey man, I'll throw it to you. I'll say anyone. Actually, I'd love to see Mozgov.
Mozgov's great there too. Yeah.
Skygov, just throwing it down over Joakim Noah. Or honestly, I would just love to see Dunleavy get just caught in the crossfire and just be caught down. Like he has no business being down there for that moment, but I would love to see it.
That would be a lot of fun.
That motherfucker. I'll go one step further. I'd like to see a season-ending injury to Mike Dunleavy.
Let's
just say it. Hey! I'm thinking of the entire league's health and well-being.
Oh, that's very utilitarian. I like that.
Utilitarian. I don't like utilitarian arguments, but in this case, I'm thinking of the greater good.
Yes.
I think he needs to be sacrificed. But most importantly, I would love to see no injuries this week. Really great.
Amen to that.
Amen to that, buddy. Hey, Matty. Cavs basketball is back. It starts Tuesday night. I am excited.
Happy days are here again.
Happy days are here again. That does it for the Cleveland Sports Hour. The Cavs tip off the season on the road against the Bulls Tuesday night, followed by the Grizzlies Wednesday, then our home opener against the Heat on Friday. So watch all that stuff. We'll be back next week to break down all those games and console each other on another likely Browns loss to the Arizona Cardinals.
For sure.
We'll try and spend less time on the Browns as best we can. Until next time, this is Matty and Patty saying... Shit. We got this down. This is good. I like it.
Take care, man.
All right. Go Cavs.
Go Cavs.